race fans, and welcome to the Schmidt Happens race recap, talking all things Kansas dirt track racing and beyond, brought to you by the Joy of Seating. I'm your host, veteran dirt track announcer Tanner Schmidt, and this past weekend, Dodge City Raceway Park had their week 4 of IMCA racing, and this is how everything stacked up. We're going to start things off in the hobby stocks. First of all, Cody Williams dominates the majority of the 20-lap feature over hard-charging Reagan Sellard, Ryan Grubbs, Jonathan Saliba, and Manny Salzo. Over in that one again, Cody Williams pretty much led flag to flag, started third, worked his way up to first on basically out of turn number 2, but a couple restarts in, you had Manny Salazar spinning from, I believe, either the first or second row, their lap 1, turn 1, collecting Jonathan Saliba, so a good rebound by both those drivers, finishing 4th and 5th, respectively. Hobby stocks, it was a great race, pretty much all throughout your field, every single class, every single car. It was pretty fantastic racing over at DCRP. We'll move down to your sport mods. Jack Kirchhoff leads all 20. Started on the pole, gets it done there. One of the best races all night long. Brendan Nordyke finishes second. Good rebound for him, finally getting some motor issues figured out there in the 9JR. Ryan Kirchhoff, Jimmy Brozick, Monty Nordyke there. Like I said, Jack Kirchhoff getting it done, leading all 20, but it was not without some struggles, as Kirchhoff got a lucky break on a caution and then got some unlucky breaks there as several restarts he had to go for. But Kirchhoff, one of the caution flags fell in his favor as Monty Nordyke did end up passing him out of turn number 2. But right as Monty took the lead halfway down the back straightaway, caution flag came out. And again, dirt track racing, you go back to the last completed lap and got the restart. Jack able to hold off pretty much the whole charging field, all of your top 5 right there, battling within a car length of each other. You had Monty Nordyke, for the most part, the main challenger to the outside all night long. Jimmy Brozick took some peaks up there. Ryan Kirchhoff, he battled from about 3rd to 5th and was in between there all night long, but a good battle for him. And Brendan Nordyke, you didn't think that it was going to be, you thought that it was probably going to be a 5th place day for him running around there, but again, several restarts, and he worked his way up. Took him 3 wide, went to the bottom. Him and his dad battled great side by side down the back straightaway. Pretty much a couple laps getting it done there, but he's able to work his way on up into the 2nd spot. We'll go to the Class 2 Tough to Tame, and it was another great stock car race. They did not disappoint. And the birthday boy, Tathan Burkhart, winning it from the pole over veterans Angel Munoz, Mike Petersilly, Troy Burkhart, and Colby Stegman. Stock car race, it was wild for a stock car race. You had some cautions. You had it was a caution. It was going to be a red flag, as turn number 4, once again, for the 2nd year in a row, claims the car of Michael Pepper. Just carried the left front in there a little too much, got a little too tippy, kind of dug in on the right side, and he almost went up and over, but it went up over, smacked the wall there into turns 3 and 4. But Tathan Burkhart up front once again, he'd pull out to a lead. Munoz and Petersilly, they'd reel him back in. He got back there. Troy Burkhart started. It's a brand new car for him. Started at the tail end of the field and just slowly worked his way up through the field. I mean, it's what you expected out of him. He just slowly, methodically worked through the field, kept it clean, kept it down to the bottom, and where everybody was kind of ripping that outside line. Trying to think if anything else happened there. But again, from the Michael Pepper incident, the stock cars, pretty much just a couple one-car spins on the back straightaway and out of turn number 2 that brought out some cautions there. We look down here to your modifieds, and it was a great race. Like I said, every single class had fantastic racing. Modifieds dominated by the 3J. Jake Nightingale gets it done over Clay Sellard, Cody Gearhart. Those 3 pretty much all nose to tail the entire race long, except for there in the last 5 or so laps. Casey Joe Gimmel 4th, and Danny Keller wrapping up the top 5 right there. It was fantastic because the fastest car of the night, he didn't end up getting the feature win. Clay Sellard, brand new power plant in that thing, as last week went up in smoke over at RPM. Decided to throw a new one in there. 0 nights, and it worked pretty well for him as he drove. He was the big mover, up, I believe, 8 spots from the start. Pushed it a little too hard, threw the slider in on, I believe, Cody Gearhart. Maybe it was Nightingale. Don't quite remember. It was one of the 2 positions. He got to 2nd, ripping that outside line, and lap traffic kind of played effect there. He had to go to the bottom of the racetrack through the slider, and I don't think he was really expecting how much wheel he had to put into it on the bottom of the racetrack as he went around with about 5 to 8 laps to go, went to the back of the pack, did a fantastic job of making his way back up into 2nd. He passed 7 cars on the restart. 6 in 1 and 2. Got the last one coming out of turn number 4. But by that point, Nightingale kind of long gone, set his sails out. Clay did reel him in a little bit, but again, not enough time with 5 laps to go, and Clay having to go through some heavy lap traffic there. Excuse me. We'll go over to your United Rebel 305 sprint cars. The Winged Warriors were in action at the Dodge City Raceway Park, and pole sitter Ty Williams out of Arcadia, Oklahoma in the 911 gets it done, leading all 20 over Jake Martins, Taylor Velasquez, Zach Blurton, and Jordan Knight. Had one red flag there for your 305s. Charlie Chaffin, rookie in the 8X. She spun in turn number 2. You had the 49X, of Luke Cranston trying to go around, just barely misses, goes to the bottom side in turn number 2. Front end of Charlie Chaffin clips the right rear of Cranston. Just a nice little baby roll as he just kind of topples over there in turn number 2, bringing out the only red flag there for your 305s. Had a couple of cautions, but again, nobody could touch Ty Williams. Started on the pole. He had an interview with my broadcast partner, Dalton Janashek, before the race, said that he was very confident coming in tonight, and it showed. Again, dominated. Led all 20. Lap traffic didn't matter as he, I believe, over a full straightaway lead. Again, over Jake Martins, Taylor Velasquez, Zach Blurton, and Jordan Knight. So now we'll switch gears here. We'll go into track points as I get this pulled up just a little bit, if technology would work. But hats off, before I get into this, hats off to Kyler Fetters and all of his track crews. It has been, each night the track has gotten consistently better. They had a ton of rain over the week, kind of like everywhere else, as races getting canceled left and right here in the Midwest. But Kyler Fetters and track crews, they made a fantastic racetrack. It was racy top to bottom. They had no real middle line there. Well, the middle line was the top line. You had a bottom and you had a middle, and it was fantastic. I know a lot of drivers liked it. Clay Sellard was probably over the moon with it because he's told me before, if there's a top side, that's the line where he's going to be banging it up off the cushion there. So we got the points pulled up here for the Dodge City Raceway Park. Start with hobby stock points. Reagan Sellard leads the way with 156 points. That's 12 points over Manuel Salazar with 144. Austin Rich, Dion Pretty, and Cole Schulte, the top 5 right there. IMCA Sport Mods, 11 points separate Jimmy Brozick and Brian May, 146 to 135. Monty Nordyke, Brendan Nordyke, and Ryan Kirchhoff there. Monty and Brendan actually tied at 134 for your third spot, 12 points back, so a good battle right there. And 14 points back is Ryan Kirchhoff. Crazy Cruisers, I believe they've only had a couple cars show up, but Matt Ramsey, they lead the way. You're 96 points, that's 33 over Dylan Pfeiffer. You got Chris Laurie with back 62 with 34 points, and Angel Munoz, 31 points, 65 points out of that top spot. The Class 2, tough to tame. It was 1 point going into last night. Mike Petersilly still remains your track point leader. Now he's gained himself 4 more points to the good, 5 points over Chris Oliver. Those two right with each other for most of the night. I believe Chris finished in your 4th, or your 6th spot, I should say. And Petersilly finishing up there in 3rd. It was a good battle. Chris had a good run all night long. Again, pretty much went toe-to-toe with Petersilly, except a couple of restarts. Got stacked up there on the bottom side, I believe, and just couldn't quite keep tabs with the 25P's back bumper. Tathan Burkhart sets 30, is 11 points back with 142. Jesse Smith and Colby Stegman, the top 5 right there. IMCA Modifieds, no surprise, Jake Nightingale leads the way with 155. That's only 4 points over Clay Sellard with 151. Danny Keller, 136, 19 points back. A tie there with Casey Joe Gimmel. And Jim Graves, 123. He is 32 points back. So we will go over here real quick. Since the United Rebel Sprint cars ran over there last night, I'll give you a rundown here of the URSS Sprint Points Series. We will look at points. Zach Blurton leads the way. 582 points over Jake Martins, 14 points back with 568. Ty Williams, Jordan Knight, Chad Salem, the top 5. Tyler Knight, Taylor Velasquez, Brian Herbert, John Freeman, and Luke Cranston. Your top 10 right there for the United Rebel 305 Sprint cars. Switching up here just a little bit, we'll go through our state points now here in the state of Kansas, starting with your 4 Cylinders of Fury, your IMCA Sport Compacts. Kyle Mortensen, he's got the lead, and these points are of 513. Kyle Mortensen, 311, your point leader. Branston Arner Jr. in second with 306. And then it's a 100-point difference from first and second back to third. Kiowa Higdon, 204. Ted Trumbo, 197. Remington Cox, your top 5. Zach McLaughlin, Jacob Ronenbaum, Kenny Schmidt, Gage Porter, Connor Schween. The top 10 right there for your Sport Compacts. Move on over to the hobby stocks. No surprise, Cody Williams again chasing that fifth track championship in your hobby stock. State championship, I should say. Apparently, can't talk at the moment. Williams, 437 leads Tyler Heath. He's got 317. Jonathan Salima in third. Travis Coop, Dion Pretty, the top 5 right there. Nick Ronenbaum, Hayden Kelly, Brooke Russell, Cole Schulte, and Dennis Berry wrapping up the top 10 for your hobby stocks. We'll move into Sport Mods. Tyler Watts takes the top spot with 2 victories a week ago at Salina and the RPM Speedway in Hayes. He's got 295. Brianna Mifflin in second, 240. Again, she was doing a great job up until the crash a few weeks ago over in Goodland. Hopefully they can get that car back together or get the new one back together and get back out there. She's 240 points in your second spot. Alex Lovelace, 233 in third. Boone Evans, Ryan Kirchhoff right now the top 5 right there. Blaine Walt, Jack Kirchhoff, Sean Ward, Tristan Mikesell, and Steve Swarthout making up the top 10 for your Sport Mods here in the Sunflower State. Class 2 tough to tame. So far, it shouldn't really be a surprise. Your top 2, Mike Petersilly with 253, Taylor Burkhart 247. Those two pretty much going back and forth every single week. Boone Evans in third, Jason Rogers fourth, Colby Stegman right now the top 5. George Ramey, Keith Stegman, Chris Cherney, Chris Oliver, and Eric Cross the top 10. So we'll move on over to the IMCA Modifieds. And again, not a big surprise here as Jake Nightingale tops the points. 357 points. Tim Watts in second. He has 226 points. Dakota Sproul third. Clay Sellard is fourth. Actually, a tie there. Clay Sellard, Kyle Rollater fourth. Clay Money in your unofficial 5th spot. Then Don Geist, Danny Keller, Brett Berry, Ryan Richmeyer, and Dylan Sherfick, the top 10 in state points right there. As this coming weekend, we look ahead. The Thomas County Speedway got rained out Friday, so they'll get their first night underway here Friday. We'll get you start times here pulled up for the Thomas County Speedway. Again, Mother Nature, it was a blessing to get the moisture, but a couple of racetracks had to cancel. Colby canceled. Goodland canceled their 2-day show. As we look here, I only don't have pits open at 5 o'clock. I can tell you that much. I'm assuming hot laps at 6, racing at 7 there on Friday. It'll have IMCA Hobby Stocks, Modified Sport Mods, Sport Compacts, and Stock Cars in action. We'll go through, just try to go off the top of my head, drivers to watch out for. Again, Hobby Stocks, if he's there, he might be at Salina, not sure, but Cody Williams definitely can get it done there in the hobby class. You also have the local drivers around Colby and Goodland that are also very, very fast in the stock class. Modifieds, probably going to see, assuming Dylan Sherfick, Clay Money, they'll probably be the top 2 there. You might see Eddie Bellick make the pull from Arvada, Colorado. I'm assuming he will. Dominic Ursetta, they'll all be there. I am just guessing. Sport Mods, most likely probably going to be the Blaine Walt show, because I'm assuming Tyler Watt's going to make the pull over to Salina. So I'm pretty sure he's probably leading points there, and I'm guessing they're racing as well. Probably going to be the Blaine Walt show. You got Tony and Cherno if they come from Colorado as well. They can put on a good night. Sport Compacts, that's really the toss-up. It depends really all who's running. So I'm sure Ted Trumbo will be there. He'll probably be in contention for the win. Madison Reed. Trying to list off a couple more off the top of my head. We'll just have to see who shows up there. And stock cars, really the 2 best stock cars at the Thomas County Speedway over the past 2 years. It's been Jeff Tubbs and Jason Rogers. Tyler Tipton, Dominic Ursetta, if Dom's there, those 2 always a factor in the Class 2 tough to tame. And then we will go back. That'll be Friday, Saturday. Next Saturday over at the RPM Speedway, they get things ramped back up. That'll be Drivers Appreciation Night. Again, get in contact with some of your favorite drivers. They probably still have some free tickets. I believe each driver got 20 free tickets for the Drivers Appreciation Night, presented by Vive Broadband. Hot Laps at 6, racing at 7. Again, make sure you get with your favorite driver. They'll be more than happy to get you a ticket. Maybe your least favorite driver. If you want a free ticket, just talk to one of the drivers that regular the RPM Speedways. I believe each driver, I think Chris said, got 20 tickets. Pack the grandstand. Show the drivers you appreciate them, because the racing in Hayes has been fantastic all year long as well. You got you got Hayes and Dodge City. The track conditions keep getting better over every single night. Last week, there was 3 racing lines. It was top, middle, and bottom. Drivers could go pretty much anywhere they wanted to. I'm pretty sure we did a recap last week, but we'll run down points here at the RPM Speedway. If I can poke the right buttons here. Matt Ramsey, 68 points in the Wild and Wacky Cruisers. That's 31 points over Chris Laurie, Weston Krause, David Krause, Madeline Krause. Sport Compacts, Kyle Benoit leads by 3 over Madison Reed, 113 to 110. 6 points out in thirds, Kyle Mortensen, Kiowa Higdon, and Remington Cox. The top 5. Hobby Stocks, Zach Olmstead. He's won 3 races as we look ahead. He's won all 3. See if he can make it 4 for 4. The RPM Speedway, Jamie Hart. He has 10 points back in second, 120 to 110. Tyler Heath, Jonathan Saliba, and Cody Williams. Sport Mods, Blaine Walt leads by 10 over Tyler Watts. You got Alex Lovelace, Sage Dinkle, and Hunter Smith in the top 5 there. Stock Cars, Mike Petersilly leads by 5 over Tyler Watts. He's got 1 point over Tathan Burkhardt. It's 111 to 106 and 105. Jason Rogers, 75 points, 36 out in your 4th spot. Kyle Pfeiffer, 38 points out with 73 points. Stock Cars, if we look at that, look at Sport Mods, it's really going to be Blaine Walt, Tyler Watts, those two to have some rocket ships there at the RPM Speedway. Stock Cars, I pretty much expect to see the same thing of Mike Petersilly, Tathan Burkhardt, maybe Jason Rogers up there as well, as Rogers did visit Victory Lane, I believe, a couple of weeks ago over at RPM Speedway. And last week, Tyler Watts getting it done. I believe his first career stock car win. Modifieds, Dylan Sherfick leads 3 points over Dakota Sproul, 108-105. Clay Money, he is there in third with 104. 4 points out. 5 points out is Jake Nightingale, 103. So again, 5 points separate first and fourth. Tim Watts is 10 points out in your 5th spot. I mean, your modifieds have really been all over the place. You've had Dakota Sproul in Victory Lane. Maybe it's just been Dakota Sproul. Trying to look as Dakota Sproul has a victory. Trying to go through here. So Dakota Sproul, the only driver in your top 5 with a win. You've got Kyle Roletter, the winner last time they raced there. He's got a win, sitting there 9th in points. Clay Sellard, he's got a win. Those are your 3 modified winners. So, I mean, Dylan Sherfick, Dakota Sproul, Clay Money, Nightingale, they can all win. Roletter, Clay Sellard, they've proven that they can get it done as well. Don Geist runs very, very well at the RPM Speedway. Just doesn't have the best of luck there. This Geist usually, he'll be running around, he'll find somebody else's mess that he gets involved in. So, I mean, your modifieds, it's really whoever finds the setup right away. That's really who's going to be up there for the IMCA modifieds for the RPM Speedway. Well, race fans, we've reached the white flag here on today's rundown. Don't forget, head on over to the YouTube channel and subscribe as well over on the Tanner Schmidt Productions Facebook page. You can also head on over and follow me at tschmitty79. That's TSCHMIDTY, the number 7, and then NINE over on TikTok to see reactions and live streams of every single race weekend. Make sure you do that. And also need to say thank you to the Joy of Seating for being the sponsor of the Schmidt Happens race recap. And as we hit the checkered flag, remember, fans, reach up, pull the belts tight, don't jump the cushion, and we'll see you in Victory Lane.